Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is about Python. We're still learning to program with Python. It's Python part 3, so let's begin. So today we're going to learn about variables. For that, let me share my slides. Variables in programming. So after introduction, we're going to talk about what is a variable, types of variables, how to create a variable, an example of how to use variables in Python. So when you want to the computer to keep track of data or to store some information, we define variables, or we call variables. We create variables. That's the appropriate word. So you create a variable to store any information you want in your computer. Think about the variable as like a suitcase with a tag. And if you want to know what's in the suitcase, then you give the tag, the name of the tag, and that's how your computer can find the suitcase and give you what's inside the suitcase. So what's a variable? Variables are basically names that store data values. A variable has a name, a value, and a type. The value of your variable is the information you want your computer to remember. A value could be something like a number or a word. The name of the variable is like a label. That's what we were talking about earlier, like a suitcase with a label. It helps you keep track of what the value represents and typically describes the information stored in the variable. For example, age, class, names. There's different kind of variables. The type of a variable is what sort of data. I mean, the type is like what sort of data we are trying to store. Maybe we want to store someone's age, which is a number, right? Or maybe we want to store someone's name, right? So in this case, it's a word. So depending on what sort of information the computer is keeping track of, it will use a variable of a specific type. These are the types of the variables, like integer. Integer is a whole number. Like when you say x equals 10, x is my variable. It's assigned a value 10. So we assign the value 10 to x, and 10 is an integer. And then the variable can be string. Like in this case, name equals Anna. Notice that if your variable is a text or a string means a text or a word or a phrase. It has to be between quotations, double quotes like this. Your variable also can be a float, a decimal number. Float is a decimal number. For example, when you say price equals $20.33, for example, 20.33, this is a float. A variable can also express Boolean expressions like true or false, yes or no. So if I say is active equals true, now true is the value assigned to my variable is active, but this variable can only take two values, either true or false, right? In this case, it's taking true. Now, how to create a variable? To create a variable, simply assign a value using the equal sign. So first name your variable, then assign a value to it using the equal sign. Python has a feature or can figure out the type of the variable automatically without the need to declaring or specifying the type of the variable in your code, but other languages you need to define and specify what type of variable you're using. The key points here, variable names must start with a letter or underscore, not a number. They are case sensitive, like when I say name with a capital letter N, and name without a capital N are different variables. Like, for instance, if I set my variable to be name with a capital N and say name equals Anna, then if I go and say print name, when I put name as without capitalization in the first letter, then the computer will not recognize the label, will not find it, will not find the variable that where I stored the name Anna. So it's important to pay attention to that. You can reassign the variables. For examples, I have two examples. If you say name equals David, and then later on in your code, you say name equals Mary, and then when you go print your variable name, it's going to be printing Mary, not David, because you change it. And if I say X is my variable equals 5, then later on I say X equals, now I am a string, then I say print X, the computer will print, now I am a string. Examples of how to use variables. Like I said, if you say age equals 22, then you go print age. This will print the number 22 because that's the value you stored in the variable age. If I say name equals Anna, then I say print name. This will print the name Anna. Another example, this one is reassigning a variable. If I say message equals good morning, and then later on in my program, I say message now equals good night. Then I say print message. This will print good night, not good morning, because I changed it. And notice how I wrote the code here. This is exactly how we should write it, and like in a program. We start with define name, then we write our the body of our program, and then if name equals main, then we call main. These two lines are important in coding to add. Then now let's practice. For that, I'm going to stop sharing my slides so I can go and share VS Code. Now we are in VS Code. Let's open a new file. We want to remove this part here, but we never. Oh, let's see. Let's move the bar all the way. Just like that. Now, let's see. First, we need to open a file, right? Like, let's open a new file to start practice. Okay, new file right here. Then let's call it .py. It's important to add the dot. That's how the computer will recognize the file. .py. I say Python lesson. Okay, just lesson or video. V for the video, and it's the Python part 3, I think. So let's call it this one. Create a new file and just save it. I'm just going to save it on my desktop. Now I have my file, it's right here, and I can start writing in Python. So let's practice. Let's practice. First, we start with the variable called age equals, let's say 24, 23, doesn't matter, let's change it. And I don't think this is going to print. Okay, see, I need to call Python first. So let's go here and call select interpreter, select it to be Python, like that. And now we'll open a new file. And call it .py3 and save it. It's good to practice. I repeat it, but that's fine. So you can practice even more. So we say age equal, we say 25. And then later say print age. We need to write age with the capital letter A, because when we defined our variable, we named it with the capital letter A. Now, when I go around in the code, I go the arrow here to run it. You can also run it here. But first, we need to create a terminal, open a terminal, new terminal, so we can see the window here where we're going to print age. And then I go to this arrow here and I hit click, and it printed. This is from my last examples. I tried it before this video, but you see here 25, that's what we printed now. Now let's close this and then try another one. Try doing the name. Say name is my variable. I assigned the value Anna to it. And then I say print name, right? Before I do that, because I don't want to print so many lines for the previous one, so I'm going to hide the previous one to make it just as a comment. To add to hide it, you just add the number sign or the hash sign. Everybody's calling it differently. I call it the number sign or the hash sign. So now open a new terminal, and then go here and print. It's printing Anna. You can see it here, Anna. Let's try now how to reassign the variables. So let's say message equals good night. Good night, right? And then later on in my program, we say message equals good morning. So a good day or something. Good morning. Or something else. Then now when I go print my message, what do you think is going to print? Because I changed the value of my variable. So it's going to print the last value I assigned to that same variable. You see, it's the same variable. We did not change the name, but we changed the value. So when we hit print, it's going to be printing the last value. It's going to be printing good morning. So to this arrow, again, I need to hide this because I don't want to print the previous example. So add the hashtag there, or a hash sign, hash. Then now when I go print, it's printing good morning. So we started with good night, then we changed it to good morning. Then when we say print, it's going to print the last value assigned to our variable. So it's good morning. All right, that's all for today's example and lesson. I will see you in next lesson.